Hello everybody, welcome back to Cocktails and Rocktails with me, your most notorious groupie, Alice Rouse, author of We've Got Tonight, The Life and Times of Notorious Groupie. That's right, you guys, author of these little books as well, where you can find that, my merchandise, everything else, down in that description. I am opening up a new shop on Teespring for my merchandise, so that will be available to you guys soon. As soon as I get everything set up and it linked here, it'll be right easy to find. And thank you everybody for tuning in, for all the love support, especially to everybody who is constantly supportive for the past couple years on this channel. You guys truly, truly mean the world to me. I cannot tell you how appreciative I am of you guys. And appreciative today, you guys, we're going to talk about some more stuff that happens on the road. Because I'm not going to bullshit you with some fairy tale out my ass story. I'm going to tell you what it's really like. Down to the nitty gritty, down to no tour bus toilet paper, stuff like that. I'm going to tell you real life experience on the road. And today's real life experience talks about cliques that we form on the road. Because you're touring with like anywhere from 20 to 300 guys. You're not all hanging out. Band members, stuff like that. And today we're just going to have a little basic screwdriver because it sounded good. It's Sunday morning, kind of like a good little brunchy drink. So everybody get screwed in a good way. Kick up your feet and let's have a little cocktails and rocktails. Cheers, big ears. Woo! I put a little too much vodka in this one. But I'd still rather swallow this than Kiplinger any day, folks. And speaking of any day, so we're going to talk about mostly kind of the days off in rock and roll. Because when you're at the gig, everybody's around each other. The bands are trying to bond before they go on stage. Stuff like this. So I'm talking mostly about what goes on the days off. Because like I said, you're touring with 200, 300, 400 guys. You don't want to hang out with your other band members when you're off stage. Personalities just sort of get drawn to each other. And groupies being on the road is a factor as well, because that can change a whole dynamic of the cliques on the road. Because it's no different than high school workplaces, friendships, neighborhoods, stuff like that. We naturally just have cliques. Now, and I talk about this because one of the issues, somebody was giving me shit that I didn't know who Alan Rogan was from Pete Townshend's Guitar Tech. I knew who he was, I just didn't know his name. Because let me explain to you, never do those boys hang out off stage. And when you're close to someone like your guitar tech, like your bass tech, like your drum tech, like your personal assistant, Cy Langston, business manager, stuff like that, you tend to gravitate towards them. So in The Who, you know, it's literally two different sides of the stage. Like Alan Rogan, Pete Townsend, they're way over there. Pete stuff, they're on that other side. I'm sitting on this side of the stage with John. So I have a totally different world. And you guys don't really realize that's actually kind of how it goes on the road. You know, like I said, different personalities. And a lot of band members, the majority of band members, they don't get along off stage. They've been stuck in that studio. They're stuck in the plane. They're stuck in the tour bus together. All these people, not just the band, but the road crew guys and stuff. And some of those guys might create bonds with their bus mates, but they might not want to and have a bond with someone else on, you know, want to hang out with someone they're not stuck with all the time. But they're having fun on the bus and stuff. So it's not like everybody hates each other. It's just, this is kind of a natural thing. Personalities, souls, hearts, energies, they vibe different ways. So that's kind of with The Who. Now with like Metallica, there were different groups. Like Kirk was in his own little, you know, hung out with his guitar tech and a couple other guys. In our little clique, it was Lars and Danny, me and James. Ian Jeffries, their tour manager at the time. Dougal the Wonder Roadie, because we still don't know what he did besides get paid. We just wonder that. Lars's drum tech and stuff, they were around us for, you know, that was kind of our clique. So when people ask me what was Kirk like, what was Jason like, did I ever sleep? No, I didn't sleep with any of the other band members. I had one drunken night with Lars. If you look at my history, I tend to sleep with one guy unless it's like something I chose to do, a fantasy, like a threesome or something like that. So that was our kind of clique on the road. So when you ask me if I know about this guy or that guy, and I don't know too many answers. This is why. Just think about it. We have huge workplaces. A lot of people work in companies that either you work from home or you're in the office and you have your friends that you go to lunch with. You see other people, you're like, oh, hey, but you're still sitting at a table. It's still like that. It's just a natural human thing that we do when we find like souls, hearts and souls, or people that interest us or that intrigue our senses and stuff like that. So I'm not trying to say mean or anything like that. Now, another type, like I said, is when you have groupies on the road. So say I have a groupie friend that might have been with Kirk, and this didn't actually happen, or something like that, and we're just hanging out like Judas Priest. I had my friend that was with KK, and she and I got along really well, but KK and Glenn didn't normally hang out off stage because KK was sick and tired of Glenn's totalitarian bullshit. Because every band has that one ruling member. Now Glenn is still, even with Parkinson's, Glenn absolutely 100% controls Judas Priest. And that's also a guiding factor to whether type of cliques and stuff happen on the road, because you may be frustrated with what I call the Fuhrer of the band, the controlling member. You know what I mean? Like Nikki Sixx and Motley Crue. Like James, people think it's Lars because Lars is the most business savvy. Oh no, sweet peas, it is James. James's family schedule, James's divorce, James's new girlfriend. What James wants to do, the songs James wants to play, Lars does not pick from songs that they all wrote. He picks from the songs James wrote. James actually presents those songs to Lars, blah, blah, blah. So you're seeing where I'm going. You guys might think it's Lars that controls that band. Oh, hell and no. But like having a groupie, like I said. So we would hang out with KK and Glenn a little more, because when you have a friend on the road with the groupies, the other band members want to promote that friendship, because if they're, off doing radio shows or whatever, you have someone to hang out with, go to lunch with while they're busy. So that can affect the dynamic on the road, if not change it just a little bit. But another dynamic is like Vince and Paul. So the cliques that they had in Pantera really had to do with personality clashes, drugs of choice, not drugs of choice, brothers, stuff like that. Even though, and it became like when Vin and I were together, we would hang out by ourselves. Vin was just the personality type that he liked to escape everything, because in Pantera, he was the CEO of Pantera. So that kind of exhausted him a lot, and he just wanted to get away and be Vincent Paul. Just plain old Vincent Paul. He didn't want to be in Pantera. He didn't want to be the drummer. He didn't want to be the one everybody comes to about what to do with the band or anything like that. He just wanted to be Vincent Paul. So when he and I were together, the only other member of our clique was usually his security guard, which started off as Big Val, then went to which later years during after John had passed and the Ozfest, when they were still filming the Osbournes and Judas Priest was on that Ozfest, Big Val was working that, and he had just got married to this girl Chelsea, who I had known from Vin's strip club. And that kind of changed our dynamic of cliques on that road, because she and I got together really well. So all of a sudden Big Val was hanging out with, Walt and me and Glenn and all these. So again, groupies can change that dynamic. But with Vin and I, the only other, like I was go off in tangents, sorry you guys. But with Vin and I, what determined who was part of our clique, was only the fact that who was his security guard at the moment. And half the time off the road, Vin didn't have his security guard, so this changed. And sometimes these security guards didn't know me on that tour. They'd be like, wait, who are you? Where are you going? I'm like, go get Vincent Paul. So it started out Mayhem, then it went to this guy Chris, or not Mayhem, excuse me. Mayhem was the last one that was around when I was with Vin during his Damage Plan days, which was very briefly lived. Oh God, that was a really bad choice. Mayhem was one of the security guards he was one of the people that lost because of Nathan Gale, along with Diamond at the Alarosa. So, unfortunately, Mayhem and Big Val has since passed as well. I don't know about Chris. Last I heard about Chris, he was working for like air conditioning or something like that in Dallas. But see, Cliques change from tour to tour to tour as well. And it's like I said, it's not like you're trying to shut anybody out. You just have personalities that you want to hang out with. You may not want to hang out with your boss, who you happen to be the guitar tech for every day off the road. You might get along with the drummer better and the tour manager and maybe the FOH guy. Like I said, when I'm with Oris, there's definitely, you can see his cliques. The roadies have cliques. The musicians have cliques. And not like I said, it's mean girls or anything like that. It just, and sometimes with big tours, especially like Metallica's or U2's or, Taylor Swift's, where they have these giant stages and 2 or 3 different stages with 3 different stage crews that are leapfrogging and tearing down, setting up, because it'll take a few days. You have totally different cliques because you have road crews that don't even see each other, that don't even know they exist. Like one crew may be there for the night while one's getting in to put the band on stage and they're tearing down. But yeah, you have 3 different road crews that don't even see each other. That's like a 300 road crew tour. So, if somebody doesn't know somebody who happens to work on the road, I couldn't tell you all of Metallica's crew. I could tell you, a lot of them that I'm still good friends with, Bobby and God rest your soul, Tim Gallup, and, like I said, Ian and Jake was around those days. So it's like, this is how you kind of get to know the tours. And not because you're hanging out with everybody, but, oh, who's that? Because you can tell who's on the tours and who's not. Or they'll stop by the bar and be like, oh, hey, how you doing? And go over to their table. We see each other. We're just hanging out. We may mingle once in a while. But like I said, when you're out on the road, you just naturally form bonds with certain people that you may not have with other people. So cliques exist. So if I don't know somebody that worked for a band, it doesn't mean I'm lying. It means that they just weren't part of the day-to-day routine and habit or people that I saw. Because like I said, even groupies can change the dynamics of who you're hanging out with on the road. And like I said, with Vince and Paul and I could tell you their faces, but I couldn't tell you some of their Pantera road crew names. I know Anthony and Chris and Kat. That's pretty much it. And I could tell you who they were. Like one of their children lives here in Salt Lake City, and I've crossed his path several times. One of the roadies for Pantera's kids. So I crossed his path, but it took me a long time to remember his dad's name. So if somebody doesn't know, and you can ask other groupies about this who have spent significant time on the road to understand the road dynamics, that it's no different because it is a workplace. For you guys standing in front of the stage, it's your rock and roll, it's your night out, it's letting loose, dancing, enjoying the music, and those shows are for all of us once those shows are happening, except for the techs. The FOH guy, the monitors guy, the guitar tech, drum tech, so on, so on, so on. The riggers and stuff, they get to relax during the shows and go hang out on the bus and watch their movies because they're not watching the shows every night either. Groupies, we have to watch those shows every night because our man is usually on the stage. So it's like, I've seen Metallica so many times, I'm over it. I don't care if I see another Metallica show to save my life. I saw them in the best years. So I hope that kind of opens up what it's really like to be out on the road. Because like I said, some people you never meet because they may be on a different bus. They may be on a different stage if there's 2 or 3 stages, like the U2 Claw stage. A couple of Metallica tours, their big tours, especially these ones right now with all these monitors and stuff, they may have 2 or 3 stages. So you have people on the tour that will never meet. The only part of the crew that stays with the band all the time is their lighting, their FOH, their monitors, their techs, the people, their tour manager, their production manager, and even there may be 2 or 3 production managers. So where they hit, where they go, who knows? And I don't see everybody. Like I said, even on the Who, it's such a different world from those sides of the stages. And with Vince and Paul, I was never on the side of the stage. I was more to the back of it by his drum kit, kind of behind the big monitors, constantly peeking around. So, you know, and I was in the dressing room, but again, even on the road, on the bus, I was never near Phil or Rex because the brothers had their own dressing room, their own tour bus, and so did Phil and Rex. So this was a completely divided camp, and some of the road crew was even divided between the camps. And when the band falls apart, oh my God, like Pantera did, like many other bands, you have the Black Crowes where the brothers are always fighting, or Rolling Stones who were never on the same plane, or stuff like that. Like on The Who, John was on his own plane. Sometimes the whole band would be on the same plane, but not that often. So it's not like, everybody's thinking, oh, you're all in the same bus, because you guys got to get off these rock star and Almost Famous movies. It's not really like that. Maybe in the beginning, everybody's crammed together and you've got this whole rock world and you're bonding on new tours and stuff like that. But when you're on the bigger tours, like I said, you may never cross paths with half the road crew unless you see them across the side of that stage during sound check, during the show, passing them backstage with your laminate, and you're just like, oh, hey, but you may cross them. So not everybody knows everybody on a tour. Plain and simple. Because, like I said, those cliques. And it's just natural bonding. Like I said, this happens every day in the normal workspace. This happens at school, in colleges, in hospitals, stuff like that. People just sort of vibe with different energies. Opposites may attract, but like-minded may attract as well. Certain band members, like Metallica, maybe not have the majority of them agree with certain politics, as to where one may not. So that creates a divide. There's so many reasons why there may be these divide. Personal reasons, like somebody sleeping with someone else's spouse. That has happened. So, and especially package tours, like, I don't think that Bruce Dickinson really wants to be anywhere near Motley Crue, Nikki Sixx, because Bruce's first wife slept with Nikki Sixx while they were still married. Part of the reason they got a divorce, I mean, Bruce Dickinson isn't an angel himself. He's kind of a dick. That's why I call him the Wiggler, trying to fit that in. But, so there you guys go. I hope, like I said, hope this kind of brings more to the table than what other groupies have seen and how it's really like. So, like I said, if I don't know someone on the tour, it's not because I wasn't there. It's because I wasn't on their side of the stage. I wasn't on the same floor. I wasn't in the same clique. I wasn't hanging around. Me and Vincent Paul were always off in our own little world, because that's who Vin was. He would sneak away from Dallas off the road and come see me in Vegas. We spent a lot of time hiding out together because that's who Vin was. He wanted to be disassociated once off that stage. He loved hanging out with other bands like Seattle when it was all the grunge guys backstage, and it was just so fucking awesome. But yeah, so there you guys go. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hope you guys are still enjoying the channel. I know it's been really busy. I've got a lot of stuff going on in my life. My father's dying. I've got personal things going on. Money, I do have a full-time job because I took a couple years off and went back to work. So things are really, really busy for me right now. But if you guys share, the 43% that are not subscribed, that are haunting the channel, subscribe, you guys, hit the bells. Do all that, because then I can devote full time to this channel, the book, and to get the podcast going again, because I am trying to get the podcast going. It's been kind of tossed in my lap to just get everything done and I'll show up for whenever I have time to film, type of thing. So I'm doing everything I can. Marie's coming over quite a bit, so I'm getting a lot of good stuff with her. And I know some things sound repetitive with us, but it's because these were some of our funnest adventures together. So we kind of remember a lot of those good times again and again and again with each other. So hope you guys are still having fun. There's so much more to come, you guys. So just be patient. I'm trying to find the time to do everything. And thank you so much, you guys, for all the love, all the support, all the comments. And I love interacting with you guys. So get down there in those comments. Let's have a conversation. Talk to me and ask any questions. I'm open. I have nothing to hide, you guys, so come at me. All right. Thank you guys again for all the love and support. Don't forget, hit the subscribe, hit the share, hit my bells, and we'll see you next time here on Cocktails and Rocktails. Cheers, big ears.